Which symptoms can be displayed due to contracting long COVID? I'm Kumal Ali and I'm working with Derek Tran and Donovan Mesa. So fatigue is the highest reported symptom out of all of the symptoms that are reported as of contracting long COVID. As we can see from figure 9 graph A, which is the graph highlighted blue, we can see that out of all of the people who have contracted long COVID, most report the symptom that is fatigue. Compared to all of the other graphs, we can see that fatigue is much more common than any of the other symptoms that are displayed, which shows a high correlation between contracting long COVID and having fatigue. This means fatigue can probably be used as a good indicator for a person's status on long COVID.
Hello, Donovan. And here we have the prevalence of fatigue compared to other symptoms. In this graph, figure 3, we can see that fatigue is the most prevalent symptom when a person is being first diagnosed with long COVID, at around 50% of people who have contracted long COVID displaying this symptom. Even in comparison to other symptoms such as insomnia, which is around 10% less common than fatigue at around 40%, coughing, which can be less common than the previous two as well. So after 350 days, we could see that the results are similar, and that even after this extreme length of time, people are still mainly affected by fatigue. This displays how fatigue is not a short-term symptom of long COVID, and therefore, due to figure 3, we are able to assume that long COVID and fatigue have a high correlation.
My name is Derek, and the figure on the right shows the recovery rates of fatigue. In this chart analysis, the legend depicts orange-colored bars for all cases of fatigue or were not affected by fatigue, and blue bars for the same instances. The, the chart shows that people who were not affected by fatigue were able to be recovered from long COVID. Around 55% were recovered and 13% were not recovered. While those affected by fatigue were more likely to not be recovered by long COVID. Those who were reported with fatigue, only about 46% were not recovered, while 36% were recovered. Those who reported with extreme fatigue, only 40% were not recovered, while 9% were recovered.
So now for our conclusion. Figure 9 shows us how, out of all people who have long COVID, almost all have developed fatigue. Figure 3 displays how fatigue remains as the most prevalent symptom for most of the person's time when contracting COVID.
Figure 11b shows how most people who have long COVID don't have fatigue recover and don't have fatigue recover from it. However, while most people who do have fatigue are not able to recover from it quite as quickly as the others. This displays how fatigue is a prevalent symptom of long-term COVID.
If you notice that you have fatigue, then you should call a doctor and take precautions to help prevent further spread of COVID. If you are alleged to have long COVID, then you should ask your doctor if there are any vaccines that will be able to help your condition. And that is the end of our presentation.
Thank you for listening.